तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ओम शांति शांति।
Chapter 2, verses 26-35. अथ चैनं नित्यजातं नित्यं वा मन्यसे मृतं तथा विश्वं महाबाहो नैवं शोचितुमर्हसि। जातस्य हि ध्रुवो मृत्युः ध्रुवं जन्म मृतस्य च तस्मात् अपरिहार्येते न त्वं शोचितुमर्हसि। अव्यक्तानि भूतानि व्यक्तमध्यानि भारत अव्यक्तनिधनान्येव तत्र का परिदेवना। आश्चर्यवत् पश्यति कश्चिदेनम् आश्चर्यवत् वदति तथैव चान्यः। आश्चर्यवच्चैनमन्यः शृणोति श्रुत्वाप्येनं वेद न चैव कश्चित्। देहि नित्यमवध्योऽयं देहे सर्वस्य भारत तस्मात् सर्वाणि भूतानि न त्वं शोचितुमर्हसि। स्वधर्ममपि चापेक्ष्य न विकम्पितुमर्हसि। पर्याप्ति युद्धात् श्रेयो यत् क्षत्रियस्य न विद्यते। यदृच्छया चोपपन्नं स्वर्गद्वारमपावृतम् सुखिनक्षत्रिया पार्थ लभन्ते युद्धमीदृशम्। अथ चेत्त्वमिमं कार्यं सङ्ग्रामं न करिष्यसि ततः स्वधर्मं कीर्तिं च हित्वा पापमवाप्स्यसि। अकीर्तिं चापि भूतानि कथयिष्यन्ति ते व्ययाम्। सम्भावितस्य चाकीर्तिः मरणागतिरिच्यते। भयाद्रणादु परतम् मध्यन्ते त्वां महारथाः येषां च त्वं बहुमतः भूत्वा यास्यसि लाघवम्।
From unmanifest to manifest and again unmanifest. This is the nature of life. This is the nature of the world. What is there to grieve about? Unmanifest in the sense there was a period where it wasn't there. Now there is, and there is going to be a period where it is not going to be again. What are you grieving for? What are you crying about, Arjuna? Because if you understand life, everything in relation to you, even at the totality level, macrocosmic, even at the microcosmic level, everything that you hold on to, everything that you feel that your life is dependent upon, where you think you cannot live, where you cannot live without it. There was a time it wasn't there in your life. You are not crying. You are not agitated. You are happy. Something happened, it came in between. Just as it came between, it leaves also. So if you understand the movement, you will not grieve. You are grieving because that which didn't have an existence in the beginning, which is existing now, you try to keep it permanent. The grief is because your attempt to make that which is impermanent into permanent. By nature, which is impermanent, you try and make it permanent. All your efforts go futile. That causes grief. Again I repeat, that which is impermanent by nature, you try to make it permanent. You try to keep it permanent. You try to keep it unchanging. That effort that you put goes in vain, goes in futile. Right in front of your eyes, you will see your efforts turning futile, and that causes grief. Extremely unwise to do this, Arjuna, because you have not understood. What you have not understood, everything in life is like that. For example, there was a time in your life where your children wasn't there at all. There was a time in your life, maybe 25-30 years, I don't know, I'm just giving an arbitrary period, maybe 25 years, maybe 30 years, you were living it's not that you were suffering, it's not that you are agitated, it's not that you are disturbed. Something happened in between, the child unmanifest in the beginning, meaning it wasn't there. Now it is manifest, meaning it has come. Again unmanifest, again going to go. What are you grieving for? What is causing the grief now? Something happened in between and you have pitched your entire life on that. You believe that without it you cannot live, and yet the same you will continue to live. Even if something happens, the same you will continue to live. Why don't you have the courage to accept it, and why don't you, through knowledge and understanding, accept and live a life of freedom? Instead, you are grieving. What are you grieving about? Which wasn't there. Everything, starting from your own physical body, analyze it. You had a date of birth. Where were you before that? Everyone here has a date of birth. Where were you before that? Oh, maybe in the womb. Okay, where were you before you entered the womb? You don't know, unmanifest. Suddenly there is a manifestation, an expression, and again going to become manifest. So the process of life is from unmanifest to manifest, again to manifest. What are you grieving for? You are grieving because whatsoever has manifest, whatsoever you have come in contact with, you try to by nature, that which is impermanent, you are trying to make it permanent. That futile efforts causes grief, because you see your efforts going vain in front of you. All that you do goes in vain in front of you, and you sit and cry. It's because of your ignorance, Arjuna. It's because of your... What is there to grieve about? What are you grieving about? As I said last week, he calls this as layman's layman's point of view, not philosophical point of view. He is saying this is layman's point of view. Layman's point of view itself looks very, very philosophical. That's the whole thing. He is saying this is verse number, the last 3 verses, 26, 27, 28 is layman's point of view. And what is a layman's point of view? A factual observation. Why it's called layman is because you really don't have to think deeply and all. Even if you factually observe life, you will understand this. What? There was a time it wasn't there, which he calls as unmanifest. Now something happens, it's there. For sure there is going to be a time that it's not going to be there. So in this journey, what is causing grief? That which you come in contact with, that which you associate with, that which you relate to, the mind has the tendency to consider it as real. The mind has this tendency to make it real, keep it alive, permanent, and all efforts are done to keep the changing into unchanging. Your effort is to keep the changing into unchanging. It's futile, he says. And this futile effort causes grief. All beings today are in manifest. There was a different set of people 100 years back. Now there is a different set of people. 100 years later there is going to be a different set of people. Unmanifest to manifest, again to unmanifest, again to manifest. This cycle goes on from one angle. From another angle, it's all ignorance, because you can see clearly the cycle of manifest and unmanifest. Now assuming that you have understood the cycle, that it's a continuous process of manifest and manifest, manifest and manifest, manifest and manifest, something deeper than that, which is so fundamentally ignorant by nature. What is it? None knows where, when, why the cycle began. So the entire phenomena of life, the very fundamental of life, the very basic fragment of life is ignorance. Able to follow? Living in such ignorance, it is meaningless to grieve over the movement of one phase, one cycle, what? Manifest to unmanifest. Because the whole thing is repeating itself again and again and again, one level. Even if you understand that, you will not grieve, because grief arises because of your futile, when your efforts goes in vain. That's why you get. When will you grieve? When will you cry? Loss. Your effort is a loss. You put in effort and you see a loss. What is the loss of effort? How much I tried, sir. It didn't work at all. That's the grief. Are you able to follow? At any point of time, shoka, grief arises when you see your efforts are turning wasteful, and your efforts are bound to turn. Very difficult to accept it, but accept it. It's turning vain. Why? That's the grief. It's you have an investment and you see a loss. You are in grief. Just as people go through imaginary losses and they suffer. Imaginary loss. 2 years back, the man was saying, I lost 5 crores, I lost 5 crores, lost 5 crores. Every day. They came to that place to get rid of the stress of the loss, 5 crores. So, every time he is saying, so I called the next day, the wife came, by mistake she came alone. I said, that's a good chance. I asked her, Innama, what happened that this man lost 5 crores? She turned around and said, that man is lying, sir, you don't know. He is lying. There is no 5 crore loss. He is lying to you. Not only he is lying to you, he is going and lying to the whole world because he wants an excuse to drink. Okay. He wants an excuse to drink. He is lying to you, lying to the whole world that he lost 5 crores. He lost 5 crores. I said, I don't understand. He expected 10 crore profit. He expected a 10 crore profit. He got 5 crore profit. Now he is saying 5 crore? Correct? Correct then? இந்த பிசினஸ் பண்ணலாம் உங்களுக்கு தெரியும் சார் இதெல்லாம் இல்லையா சும்மா கிளாஸ் எடுத்துக்கிறதுனால உங்களுக்கு இந்த பெயின்லாம் யூ டோன்ட் இஃப் யூ டூ பிசினஸ் தென் யூ வில் ஆல்சோ நோ there is a loss that he is suffering from. No way you can tell him that loss is because he feels that by his effort he deserves since he has done an effort in a particular way, it is his right that he needs 10 crores. Now he has got only 5 crores. He is in tremendous shoka and his grief is real. He is not imagining. Sorry, he is not putting up an act. He is really grieving. Because of what? Grief happens when your effort goes vain. All your effort in the world, in the terrestrial world, take it or leave it. This is the law of karma. Is bound to go vain. So everyone has to leave grieving. Everyone has to leave something out of grief. You can never leave anything. You can never transcend through knowledge and understanding. You leave something only out of grief or out of helplessness. Kind of passive reconciliation. Anyway, it's okay, sir. Now what to do? I have accepted, and you think you have become very philosophical. Just a passive out of helplessness. Either way you live in grief. Why? Because your efforts are in vain. What is the effort? That which is changing, that which is going to become unmanifest, you try to keep it manifest. Relatively. In the absolute sense, you can observe this cycle happening very clearly in the world. Periods of monsoon will be followed by periods of drought. Extreme heat will be followed by rainfall. You see this continuously happening at the microcosmic level, at the macrocosmic level. It's all ignorance. Why it's all ignorance? Because none knows where, when, why the cycle began. Why is it like this? Looks like some mad thing suddenly created something, and the whole thing is going through this pattern endlessly again and again and again. For the pattern that's going to repeat itself again and again and again, what are you grieving about? Your grief has no meaning. How much ever you might feel justified that your grief has, how much ever you feel, no sir, but others' grief has no meaning, I can fully understand, but not my grief. What is there to grieve about? What was there to grieve about? Don't worry, this is the last verse. After this, he will not talk about grief. After this, he will never use this word again, grief. This is the last verse. Beings are unmanifest in their origin, manifest in the middle, again manifest in the waves arise, exist, merge back. Waves arise, exist, merge back. You stand there, you go to the sea, you stand there watching it. Just stand there watching it. Waves endlessly rising and disappearing, appearing, disappearing, appearing, disappearing. Endlessly the process goes on. Suddenly you will find attachment to one particular, suddenly you will get attached to one particular wave. Don't go and see here. Suddenly you will get attached to one particular wave, and the moment you become focused on a particular wave, that's the starting point of your delusion. That's the starting point of your grief. And that particular, what drives you to get attached to that particular, what drives you to get focused on that particular, no one knows but the mind. The mind develops it. End result is grief. End result is grief. What is grief? An agitated state of mind, an incapacity to action. That's grief. A lack of motivation to go back and start the day. That is grief. You feel useless, sir, nothing to, and you become a lack of motivation to start the day itself, because you have seen your efforts going in vain. And then you will come and ask, how to make sure that efforts don't go in vain? How to make sure that efforts don't go in vain? Make a mental note. Make a mental note now. When I go there, I tell you. Verse number 40 of the same chapter. Just 10 verses if you wait. Because you feel your effort goes in vain. All the time you feel your effort goes in vain all the time. If you just wait for few verses. Verse number 40. In the same chapter he is going to say that there is no loss of effort, Arjuna, nor does it produce contrary result. All your talk of grief, effort going waste, vain, how to do productive action, all that is useless. Simply how to make sure that your effort doesn't go in vain. Do karma yoga. That's all. Simply do karma yoga. But karma yoga and all we'll do later, sir. First let us do. Okay? You follow what I am saying? Grief happens when you see your efforts in vain. That's when grief happens. You try and result doesn't happen in your way. There is a wise one does not. The wise one does not grieve. The wise one does not grieve. Now, 5 more minutes. If I start talking on grief, now I will start grieving. Too much of discussion on this grief. Right from verse number 11, he kept on saying, don't grieve. He gave so much of knowledge, so much of understanding to remove the grief. Verse number 29. What is the proof that you are gaining knowledge? How do you know that understanding is? How do you know that understanding is seeping in you? How do you know that you are growing in understanding? He quotes from Kathopanishad. Again, another verse from Kathopanishad. and tells you, grief goes, something else comes. Grief goes away. Through all this knowledge and understanding, grief goes away. What gets replaced? What gets replaced? 29 padinga.
Ashcharyavat pashyati kachidenam Ashcharyavat vadati tathaiva chanyah Ashcharyavat jainamanya shrunoti Shrutvaapyenam vedana jaiva kachet Ashcharyavat pashyati kachidenam Ashcharyavat vadati tathaiva chanyah Ashcharyavat chainamanya shrunoti Shrutvaapyenam vedana jaiva kachet.
One sees this as a wonder, so also another speaks of this as a wonder. Another hears of this as a wonder. And though having heard, none knows this at all. Fascinating verse from Kathopanishad, where he goes on saying it's ascharya, it's wonderment. What is wonderment? The state of ascharya. When you are in ignorance, you will be in grief, shoka. When you gain knowledge, as you get established in knowledge, as you evolve spiritually, as you are growing, as you are maturing into a human being, grief goes away. What sets in? Ascharya, wonderment. Wonderment sets in. You follow? The wonderment sets in. If you have to understand this verse, carefully follow. Grades of wonderment. When he talks about spiritual evolution, he always gives the examples, right from the Mount Everest to Niagara Falls to the sunrise to the peeling a banana to the daffodils. As you evolve spiritually, what is that happens in you? I'll be happy, no sir. I'll be blissful, no. Nothing will affect me, no. Kathopanishad gives a different thing. What starts? The wonderment starts. What is the wonderment? Wonderment is recognizing the insignificance of your ego. That's all wonderment is. Today there is no wonderment at all, because the ego is so correct. The ego is so pronounced. The ego is so grown. There is no wonderment at all. For wonderment to happen, only miracles will wake you up, he says. Only a miracle will wake you up. Meaning the ego has, able to follow? The ego has come to the point where there is no, what is wonderment? When does wonderment happen? You stand in front of the ocean. You go to the sea and stand in front. For a temporary period, maybe for a few seconds, maybe for a few moments, you realize your insignificance in front of the vastness. That leads to wonderment. You go and stand in front of the mighty Himalayas. You see your how insignificant, how small, how tiny, how insignificant. Even relatively also, you can see an elephant, very inspiring. Not elephant. Elephant is not inspiring. In front of that elephant, you feel you feel you experience it. I don't know whether you have experience. When the goods train go, it's very, you can see and see. You can't get tired of looking at a goods train. At least I didn't get tired. Endlessly it goes on. What is happening there if you analyze? You realize your insignificance. Sometimes you can see, on what is the day where there is no moon? What do you call in English? Huh? New moon, correct. New moon. Pitch dark the sky is. You lie down and you can see the galaxy. You can see the stars. You can just look at it for hours together and you will not get. And it is so. What is it that is inspiring? What is it that is creating that wonderment? You see your insignificance. You see your insignificance. Same thing, glass of water doesn't create that. Therefore, the ascharya, the wonderment, the evolution is nothing but recognizing your. But then you will start crying. The moment you realize your insignificance, you will start crying. What you will cry? You will start crying. Because, oh my God, how useless, I am so small. Even here the ego, either this side or that side. You cannot see the moment you realize your insignificance, again another kind of shoka will start. What is another kind of shoka? Am I so small? Am I so useless? Am I this? Am I that? How do I become useful, sir? Kathopanishad says, ascharya, wonderment. And this wonderment is the function of subtle intellect. The function of the subtle intellect is wonderment. More evolved you are, more you are in that state of wonderment. Ascharya. Every aspect of life is ascharya. Wonderment. How much ever you hear this, wonderment doesn't happen. How much ever you hear this, wonderment doesn't happen. See, wherever this thing works everywhere. See, suddenly a man who's worth 1,000 crores walk into this classroom. I will also feel like getting up, no? Wonderment. His presence is causing an wonderment. What is it that is causing that wonderment? What is it that is causing? Whereas a person who has only 10 rupees in his pocket, that too the last 10 rupees walking in. What is it that is every aspect? You follow what I am saying? Every facet of life, wonderment comes when you see when you see that which is vast, when you see that which is big, that creates when you see in front of that, you realize your insignificance almost unconsciously. That's why you say, wow, fantastic, sir. Wow moment, sir. Today you say, no, today they have different. Today they are, what do they call it as? Wow moments. Wow moments and inspired moments. That's all it is. When you say, wow, what are you? But then inspiration looks like one grandmother talking. If you say, wow, you feel you are saying something. It doesn't matter. The concept is what is it? to realize, to experience wonderment, you need to understand your not insignificance, the correct significance. The correct significance you understand. I only said insignificance, just to start the discussion. That's not it. Actual Ashcharya, wonderment comes when you understand your correct significance. What is your correct significance? Carpenter, do carpentry. Plumber, do plumbing. Musician, do music. Electrician, do. That is your correct significance. Ashcharya. Rest of the things are, as you are doing this, one side of it is happening, your subtle intellect has awakened. Awakened to the fact of what? To Ashcharya. Carefully follow. In the world, you do everything to kill the Ashcharya. Science is an effort to. Science cannot accept wonderment. Science has to break it up. Understand. It looks very logical. That's why they are more agitated than the rest. They are more agitated. Why? In the world, you can't stay with wonderment. You need to break it up, because in breaking up, you understand. The moment you understand, what goes out? Out of understanding, your Ashcharya is not increasing. Out of understanding, your Ashcharya goes out. That understanding is no understanding. I have fully understood, sir. What has happened? Subtle intellect is not awakened. What is the purpose of knowledge, understanding? Your subtle intellect is awakened. How do you know that your subtle intellect is awakened? You are in that wonderment. What is that wonderment? How do you understand that? Go back to the book, The Fall of Human Intellect. Go back to the book, The Fall of Human Intellect. The 4 stages of development of intellect. From the age of perception to the age of superstition to the age of scientific inquiry to the age of contemplation. Here we are talking about the age of contemplation. That's Ashcharya. Are you able to follow? As you evolve into the age of contemplation, your wonderment, please. Wonderment means you are able to sustain, the longevity of your inspiration, the longevity of your wonderment is more. Then you have spiritual. Otherwise, the longevity of your inspiration is only 10 seconds in a year. 10 seconds in a year. Because so much of effort, so much of time, everything you have to do to go to a place to get into wonderment. For example, take this. Worship. For you to worship means for you to get inspired. For you to get into that state of wonderment, you need a particular place. You have to spend time to go there and effort. Where you are right now, there is no wonderment. There is no Ashcharya. There is nothing. Right now where you are, it's only bitterness and hatred and frustration. Yeah. I love God. It's always easy to love whom you don't know. You can't love the neighbor because you know him. Correct? Are you able to understand that? It's always easy to love those whom you don't know. It's very easy. That's why it's easy to love Krishna, easy to love Rama, easy to love Christ, easy to love any one of them because they are not there. So, the moment they are there, you can't love. Why? So difficult to love the grandfather, no? So difficult to love the neighbor. So difficult to love your own. And moment that grandfather is dead, you start worshipping. Grateful because he left you. Yeah. Thank God you left. You start worshipping him because all along he was sitting there torturing you because you have to attend to him morning, noon and night. Now that he is gone, you say, Abbara, thank God you. Where you are, there is no wonderment. You have lost the capacity to worship where you are. That's the starting point. You have lost the capacity to worship where you are. Therefore, you need a place to worship. To go to that place, you have to spend time and effort. Therefore, all worship, place, time, worship. Now, place, time, effort. Place, time, effort. Mount Kailash is the place. Time and effort you have to spend to go there. For what? For what? To worship. Actually, what is happening at the point of worship? You say, Ashcharya. That's all worship is. Are you able to follow? All the way you have to go to, he said, all the way you have to go to a Kailash or any place, doesn't matter. All this you do for what? For that momentary inspiration. Quite a few have said it. I have also seen it. See, you are traveling. Suddenly you take a turn. You can see the Kailash in front. That first sight of Kailash is so wonderful. Oof. That's it. Half an hour later, as you are getting closer and closer, you are thinking, when I will get back. The place, the time, the effort. For what? To get that few seconds of inspiration. In such a mighty expression, you are able to see the divinity. You don't evolve spiritually like that. That's not the way to evolve. To evolve, you need to get it where you are. That is impossible, sir. That is impossible. Where I am, it's not possible. As you evolve spiritually, wherever you are, you would be able to get it. How do you do that? Through knowledge and understanding. 18, 19 verses of wonderful knowledge he gave. And now he is telling you what that knowledge would have done to you. Your subtle intellect would have awakened. In that awakening of subtle intellect, what you will experience in life? You will experience Ashcharya. Wonderment. What is the wonderment? You start seeing divine. It's a very poetic expression, starting seeing divine. It's a very poetic expression. Don't take it as a literal seeing. That's why he carefully says, none knows it at all. Carefully follow now. None knows it at all. Because the moment you get into this wonderment, immediately your human equipment, the body, the mind and intellect, you will want to use it and understand it. Sir, can you please tell me what happened to me last week? Nothing happened. Only insanity happened. Thank God you came out of it. You see an wonderment and your ego immediately wants to understand. That's why the Kathopanishad says, none, even though you are seeing it, even though you are hearing it, even though you are experiencing it, none knows it at all. Because the equipments through which you are trying to know it can never know it. The equipments through which you are trying to know it can never know it. In that sense, he says, none knows God. Because you get into that momentary inspirations, and then what you do? You kill it. You destroy it. How? By starting to ignorance you should analyze and understand. Wonderment you should just experience. Ignorance you will accept it for granted and you will continue. Wonderment you will want to. Hair splitting analysis you will do. Here, as a result of which what you lose? So difficult is to get into those rare moments of inspiration, and you do something to kill it. You cannot stay in wonderment. Lastly, when you are in wonderment, you will stay silent. You will not. That's the proof. You will stay silent. You will not go on. No, I just wanted to tell you only, sir. I don't want to tell anyone else. Only you. And so, I am so happy nowadays. You cannot keep it. Why? The equipments immediately wants to what? Associate with it and destroy it. That's why they say stay quiet. Stay silent. Stay quiet. Stay silent. Stay silent. With this background, read the verse. One sees this as a wonder. This means the self, Brahman. The Sanskrit word Brahman means vastness. That's why the word Brahman is a very, very good indicator of God. Because the word Brahman itself means vastness. Because in front of vastness alone, you will realize your insignificance. Otherwise, your ego feels. Otherwise, opposite of it is what? Your ego feels that you are the center of the universe. You are the center of the universe and everything happens only for you or against you. Now, God is in my favor, sir. Suddenly God will become against. You have to equate everything to your own self because you believe that you are the center. The opposite. What is the opposite? One sees this as a wonder. This means Brahman, God, self. The Sanskrit word Brahman itself means ever expanding, vast. The word itself means that. It doesn't mean God in the way that we understand God. It simply means vastness. One sees this as a wonder, so also another speaks of this as a wonder. Another hears of this as wonder. And though having heard, none knows this at all. None knows this at all in the sense the equipments cannot know. And all that time the human being is trying to know only through the equipments. And this verse is a fantastic verse because it tells you how you are growing. How do you know that knowledge and understanding is seeping in you? Your sense of Ascharya means what? Inspired moments. The inspired moments. From once in a year to maybe twice a year, maybe thrice a year, maybe it slowly. A time comes where you are inspired. You are inspired all the time. What is inspiration? Inspiration is nothing but recognizing your insignificance. That's all it is. It's a function of the subtle intellect. This Ascharya is a function of subtle intellect. To understand this easily, go back to that 4 stages of development of human intellect. What are the 4 stages? First stage is just perception, seeing things around and not even registering what you are seeing. That is the first stage. From this stage it's evolved to age of superstition. You see things and wrongly correlate. You see things and start correlating it wrongly. Age of superstition. From this to the age of scientific inquiry. What is the age of scientific inquiry? You make an effort to understand the right cause. You try to correlate cause and effect correctly. From that, this itself looks like a ultimate state. No. This is the age of scientific inquiry. Then comes the highest, the age of contemplation. What is the age of contemplation? Age of contemplation is nothing but an wonderment. You stand in front of that where all the pattern is broken, and you see your insignificance. You say, unknowingly, unconsciously, you utter the word God. Unknowingly, unconsciously, you utter the word God. That is contemplation. You can't plan and say from 8:30 to 9 o'clock I will think of. You can't do it like that. People are doing. You can't plan like that. You can only get inspired. In that inspiration, remembrance of God happens by itself. You can't sit and make a plan and remember God. You sit and make a plan to remember God. That's what everyone is doing. It turns very how it turns? It turns very mechanical. It turns very mechanical. That's why everyone comes back and say, it's very mechanical. No sir, it's very mechanical. No. Why? Because you do not know how to get inspired. You do not know how to get inspired. But you mechanically follow. There is no Ascharya. There is no wonderment. There is no contemplation at all. And what is the Ascharya state? That state of contemplation where everything that you see reminds you of divine. That is wonderment. You see a mighty expression, you get a reminder of divinity. You get a sunrise, you see a sunrise, sunset, reminder of the divinity. You feel the banana. If you are conditioned by the example of feeling the banana, you will look at the banana and feel inspired. But you will not feel the same when you are looking at something else. What it means is for you to be reminded of the divine. Even the most ordinary things or whatever you call as ordinary is like daffodils, he says. And daffodil is the most, you see a daffodil, it's not rose, it's not lotus, it's not all that. Who has seen a daffodil? You have seen, no? So, it's so tiny, it's a wild flower. No, it's a wild flower. It just grows by itself. It means his sensitivity, that acuteness of the growth is so, I don't know what words to say, so precise, so sharp, so poetic, so much in that wonderment, divinity he sees. As you evolve, the reminders of divinity is more. Today, the reminders of divinity is very less. Literally nothing. If at all there is something, that is very, very less. As you evolve, you don't need, from that few, it starts becoming, from the few, it starts becoming more and more and more and more. You evolve properly. Today, height of ignorance is, you get into wonderment when someone breaks the law of cause and effect. See, even in magic, what is the wonderment in magic? What is the wonderment in magic? A rabbit is pulled out of a hat, What is it that is actually happening there? Don't criticize that man. Understand what is happening in you, that you are wonderstruck at that. Something which defies cause and effect. That's all. Something that defies. For you to fire needs a fuel. Correct? Fire needs a fuel. Cause and effect. Suddenly, bush, one fire comes. You turn and ask, how, sir? Clear? And all these people make use of this in you. And you also, I am not saying this, he says. And they make use of this in you. What is it that suddenly it is a wonderment? What is the wonderment? When something so illogical happens, something that is so weird that happens. There is the reminder of divinity to happen. You need weird, illogical situations. That is the fifth state, he says. What is the fifth state? The state below. RK sir, correct. Nirvan, you have said something correct. Yes. Below the age of perception, not beyond contemplation. Age of perception is the starting point of intellect. Now he says that is it's even below that. There, such, I don't know, whatever it is. Ascharya is an ecstasy, the spiritual ecstasy. Ascharya is nothing but a spiritual ecstasy. You don't need, otherwise it's an wonderment. What is the wonderment? Have you seen magic shows? Has anyone gone to see magic shows? Engappa. Suddenly the elephant comes on the stage. Have you seen that? P.C. Sarkar does that magic. Long back, when he came to Mysore, I took Swati. I said, come, we should go and see the magic. You won't know. Before the magic started, half an hour earlier I went, and I took her behind the stage. The elephant is standing there. Do you know that? The elephant is standing there. I said, the gates are all closed, everything is closed. Suddenly, like you are not in pitch darkness also. You are not even in pitch darkness. There is the movement of light, there is that, and suddenly the elephant comes onto the stage. What? How can an elephant suddenly come onto the stage? It's not possible. Correct? But then, if you do not understand it, the child believes what? That man had some powers by which magically he brought the elephant, and magically he made sure the elephant disappeared also. Previous verse is more interesting than from unmanifest to manifest to unmanifest. Wonderment. How did he bring that? That's a trade secret. That you don't. Will you get carried away by that? You won't. Why? It will not evoke Ascharya in you, but in the child it evokes Ascharya. When you are spiritually a child, what will evoke Ascharya in you? What will evoke wonderment in you? Something beyond, even vastness and all will not help. Because even if they go to the beach, they are getting bored. Go to Niagara Falls, they say, Eppo Tirimpolam. Oh, we came all the way for this? Yeah. See, the son took the mother to Niagara Falls. The son was so inspired, took the mother to Niagara Falls. The mother turned around and said, Ivladana, can we go back now? And that mother get inspired by street magician alone can inspire that mother. And you want to know who that mother is? After the class I will tell you. Because the mother came and told me this. Sir, onnume illa sir, Niagara I went there. Niagara, everyone is saying, Swamiji also saying in the class, that's why I went there. Nothing is there. I said, no ma, don't worry. You understand? Who will get inspired? Some amount of subtle intellect, some amount of awakening of the subtle intellect. To come to the point where from the dependency on the reminders to divine, you become divine yourself. Now, carefully follow. Ascharya means you are dependent for a reminder of divinity. As you evolve, the dependency reduces. That's all it means. Are you able to follow? As you evolve, you don't need reminders. A time comes where absolutely no reminder at all is needed for remembrance of divinity. Down the line, you are in constant need of some reminder or the other. How do you know that you are growing? How do you know that knowledge and wisdom is settling in you? The reminders of the dependency on the reminders. Number 2, the longevity of today, you need constant reminder. Bigger the reminder, smaller the time of inspiration. Proportionately it works. Bigger the reminder, smaller is your time. That's why Mount Kailash, so tall, so high, so wonderful, it doesn't give you years of inspiration. It gives you only moments of inspiration. If you have evolved the sunrise and sunset, where you can see from your terrace every day, gives you that. Next stage is, you don't even need to go to the terrace. the food that is in front of you can inspire. After a period of time, just breathing in and breathing out itself is enough to remind you of a time comes where you become divine yourself. Till that point of time, you need reminders. How do you know that you are evolving? Correct. Today, don't try that. You need only reminder. Why the reminder? Why you need reminder? Why you need reminder? Reminders are needed when? That's why class we say don't send reminders. We say, every Sunday we are meeting. I said don't send. Reminders are needed when? When you forget. Remember what makes you to forget and attend to that. Inspiration stays by. Don't worry about how to get inspired. Don't worry about that. Worry about what makes you to forget and attend to that. Are you able to follow that? What makes you to forget? What makes you to forget? What makes you to forget? Your attachments, your involvements makes you to forget. Instead of attending to the attachments and involvement, everyone wants to directly go to, because you cannot go like that. Why you cannot go like that? You are in need of reminders because you forget. Reminders are needed to those who forget. Supposing you can forget that there is a class at 7:30 in the morning, it's not worth. It's not worth reminding. Remind Bunny, Kuta the Kupti, what are you going to do? Kuta means the whole crowd. Bring the crowd for what? They are sitting here reminded of something. You make an effort to bring them here. Sitting here, they will be reminded of something else. Nothing to wake up. What a futile shoka then comes. Yeah. Looking at the crowd, shoka only comes. Therefore we say forget that. Simply you remind. Reminder is needed. You should feel insulted when you are dependent upon reminders. You should feel insulted. Why? Because you are forgetting. You are forgetting means it has not turned into a priority. That's why you are forgetting. You can forget the divine because divine is not a priority. If divine is not a priority, what is your priority? Attachments. What is the nature of that attachments? Unmanifest in the beginning, and manifest now, again unmanifest. For this ignorant, non-existing, futile, useless, whatever adjective you want to use, you use. You forget what? You forget the divine. And you are in need of reminders. You are in need of reminders because you forget. You forget because it's not your priority. Supposing, assume this. If Venkat has to call me and say, Sir, இன்னைக்கு Sunday class இருக்கு, நீங்க வந்துருங்க, if he is telling me that, he is not saying that, please. Otherwise don't think maybe Venkat is calling him and reminding him. He doesn't say that. Yeah. Supposing I need a reminder, that it means what? Reminders are needed when you forget. What makes you to forget it? It's not your priority. If divine is not your priority, what else is your priority? The world is your priority. Therefore, knowledge and understanding is required to unsettle your current priorities, so that you will start moving to divine. To that person who is so involved in the world, to talk about God, to tell him about God, to tell him, get inspired. Nothing works. What will inspire that man? See, for a man who is involved in the pettiness of the unreal, what will inspire him? Only magic and miracles, he says. Only magic and miracles will inspire, because that forgetfulness has come, the forgetfulness has become so deep-rooted. So deep-rooted it is. What will help you to wake up? Not the divine, the knowledge and understanding. What is the knowledge and understanding? Verses 11 to 28. He gave that knowledge. Indestructibility of the embodied. One of the longest topics of the Gita is that. Otherwise, each and every topic will be only 7-8 verses, not more than 7-8 and a half. One topic where it ran to 20 verses. Packed with knowledge. And yet, at the end he is saying, how do you know that you have knowledge? Even though quite a few had clarifications, I am not taking any clarification because I want to finish the flow. Next week, if it is still bothering you, I will take it up. One varam time kudutha questions die away because just impulsive questioning, avladhaan. And in this context, simply, I am not taking up any clarifications now. Next week, go through the flow. You are in need of reminder because you are in need of reminder because you forget. Who needs reminders? The husband needs reminder of the wife's birthday, na? That's all. Understand? Enough to destroy the marriage. Why? Because do you forget your mother's birthday? Do you forget your sister's birthday? Last month I saw you wishing your sister on her birthday. How can you forget? Correct? How can you forget my birthday? Finished. That is enough to forgetfulness implies it's not a priority. If divine is not a priority, something else is. What is that something else? Attachments, correct. Use that word. Attachments and involvements. Therefore, there is something fundamentally wrong in attachment. There is fundamentally wrong in involvement. All your attachments, all your involvements, there is something that is fundamentally wrong. What is it? It makes you forget the divine. It leaves no time with you to attend to the divine. It leaves no time. That's why no one has time. No one has time. If at all they have time, only 1 week. Sir, I am free for this week, sir. Nothing before, nothing after. In this 1 week, what I can do? Sleep and enjoy the 1 week rest and go back to your suffering. Why bother about divine and all? 1 week. You follow? You forget it because your involvements, your attachments make you forget the divine, and that is prioritized so much that you will not be left with any time to attend to the what happened, why you didn't come for, I don't ask anyone that question, why you didn't come for I ask, why are you still coming? That I ask. If someone is not coming, I will never ask, why are you not coming? They are not coming because something else has become what is the priority? No sir, my dog fell sick, I have to take the dog to the doctor, therefore I couldn't come. It's okay. Next Janma, dog will take you to the doctor. This Janma, you take the dog to the doctor. Next Janma, dog will take you to the doctor. What else will happen? Nothing will happen. Meera, not you, huh? Yeah, I don't think I am talking about you. Otherwise, you think I am talking about Tarun. That's it. Tarun. Huh? Something or the other can make you to forget. What? divine. You can take up an action to go to the divine, and you can get involved in that action and forget the divine. That is possible there also. That's why involvement in karma yoga, involvement in good desire and action makes you to forget the very purpose of why you started it. There also you can, because the mind has this tendency to get, nature of the mind is to get attached, full stop. In that attachment, it forgets the divine. Forgets the divine. How deep your forgetfulness is, you can understand what mighty expression you need. That much deep rooted is your forgetfulness. Very depressing is this verse. That's why I didn't want to take up any clarification. Because next week we'll forget it. Because I will start with the next verse. No. You follow what I am saying? How deep rooted is your forgetfulness is dependent upon how short lived is it. Yeah. Real, unreal, illusion, this, that. A cockroach going in, all the legs will be. And what are we discussing? Real, unreal, everything. And one cockroach going here, one lizard going this side is enough to. Understand? All the inspiration goes away in. Because the cockroach decides your inspiration. The lizard decides your inspiration. What will help you? Don't get into what will help you? Ascharya, wonderment. What will help you to get into that wonderment? Gain the knowledge and understanding. Gain the knowledge and understanding, because it is the knowledge and understanding that will expose the futility of your attachments. That is making you to forget the divine itself. Exposes it. More the futility of your involvements and attachments you understand, more established you will be in the higher. Higher means Ascharya, wonderment. One sees this as a wonder, one speaks of this as a wonder, one hears about this as a wonder, and yet none, na kaschit, no one knows it. Verbatim quoted from Kathopanishad. Verbatim quoted from Kathopanishad. Tells you exactly how your process of growth is, how it should be. If it is not happening, where are you falling down? Where are you falling down? You are falling down in knowledge and understanding. That's why you are still in need of reminders of the divine. Knowledge and understanding exposes the futility of your attachments, involvements, as a result of which the priority shifts to the divine. Yeah. Priority means time, no? Priority means, or time equals priority. If you have something as a priority, you find time. If you are not finding time, means at that moment something else has become priority. That's all it is. Nothing to criticize, just an understanding. That's all. What is it? If you have no time, means no time for divine, because it's not a priority. If divine is not a priority, something else has turned into a priority. What is that? Attachments. Not word. Your your attachments and your involvements. Therefore, from the beginning, he ridicules and exposes the futility of your attachments, as a result of which you grow in understanding. As you grow in understanding, the reminders for divinity, the dependence on the reminders become less and less and less. A time comes where a daffodil can inspire you. Higher than that is the state of realization itself, where you yourself become the divine. The whole purpose of all this exercise is one day to come to that state. Yeah, we continue next week. Anything.
Think about
you need a reminder.
I need always a reminder.
Correct. Because that's the level of growth. That's why you need a reminder. It doesn't mean it's not. It's got nothing to do with an object.